Well, in today's PIX Parenting Plus, an 8-week guided journal to help parents heal their triggers so they can show up for their children.
That's right. The book is called Foundations, and it's a practical step-by-step guide to heal, break the cycle, and become the safe parent that your child needs. So we're talking to the author of the book and mom, Reem Raouda. So great to have you here, Reem.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to be here.
So this book, it doesn't focus on the kids, it focuses on the parents, right? And then it's broken up into weeks, and then the first one, and each one has a theme, and the first one is how our own childhoods can shape us as parents. So can you kind of give us an example?
Yes, so this is not about our kids, this is really about us as parents, and it's not trying to be a perfect parent, it's just about understanding ourselves so that we can show up differently and break those cycles. And some examples of those cycles are, say, you were yelled at as a child, you will most likely yell at your child. You were punished, shamed, you will do the same. If you were made to feel perfect as a child, you will want your children perfect too. So this Foundations Journal is to become aware of that cycle and to break it and to really show up without those expectations.
Well, talk about digging out those foundations, the buried emotions and triggers. Apparently, there's such a critical part of this exercise that this takes up 2 chapters. Yeah. I mean, what types of things come out during these types of sessions?
So much comes out, but the main thing is that we start to understand as parents that our children's behavior is really not about them. It's all about us. They are reacting more than behaving. And we start to see that our anger is not about them. It's usually our pain that's been buried. Our control is not really control, it's our fear. Our shame is really grief, sadness that we've been carrying our whole lives, and we're just unfortunately burdening our children with that. So what Foundations does is really gives us a mirror to uncover what those feelings really are instead of, blaming our children for our anger. It's really saying something about us that's unresolved.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot about what our emotions have been, right? Yeah. And you talk about emotional abandonment and emotional regulation. Yes. So lay that out for us.
So emotional regulation is, say your child triggers you or upsets you or frustrates you, activates you. It's feeling that anger, frustration, processing it, and having that response flexibility to decide how you're going to respond to your child rather than react blindly and maybe in a way that you'll regret later. So it's having this equanimity and calmness and maturity, emotional maturity that our children really are desperate for us to have. And emotional abandonment is really just dismissing emotion, shutting it down. We don't want to feel it. We don't want them to feel it. So, stop crying, go to your room, time out. And that's, that's harmful.
What is the side effect of that then?
I mean, anxiety, depression, just, a host of, it's really emotional. It actually causes worse behavior. So, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with that. And we're teaching our children the biggest lie, that their feelings are not natural and not healthy. And I think as adults, this is what we are all recovering from, is not being able to feel our feelings.
Well, let's talk about a big one, breaking the pattern of perfectionism. What does that look like, and talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so, especially today, we all want our children to be excellent at everything and to excel and to be ahead of the curve and be in every sport. And
it's a lot of pressure.
So much. They're so overscheduled. And then we as parents also want to be perfect. We want to be successful. We want to be doing the right thing. We want to be ahead of the curve. And it's that pressure that we have on ourselves and on our kids is toxic. And that should not be, what success is. Success is emotional well-being. Success is feeling emotionally safe in your body, grounded in who you are, knowing who you are, loving who you are. That should be what parents, aim for as success, not grades, accolades, achievement, overscheduling, overdoing.
Yeah, but I think a lot of parents will say to you, but then how do you do that? It's hard not to feel like you are falling behind the curve, right? Yeah. And when your children aren't doing well, that you take it upon yourself and you're saying, I'm the one who's failing.
Yeah.
So how do you get over that hump?
Well, Foundations helps a lot in kind of reassessing what's going on within you, because really those needs of yours are not, those are also some childhood wounds and neediness that you've never resolved, right? And now you're burdening your child with your needs, and that's not fair, and it's not their burden to carry. But really, within the work, you become more present, you become more aware, you become more whole, and you understand that your children are whole the way they are. They don't need this and that to become, they already are. And that message starts seeping through, and they sense relief, and they sense a presence and a connection, again, that they are so desperate for.
Does it matter what age your child is when you start this process?
No. They could be 5, they could be 25. To feel emotionally safe with a parent will help anybody, no matter the age. And really, this is for our children, but it's also just as much for ourselves. This liberates you as a parent, but as a person, from being hijacked and kidnapped in your old wounds and triggers and all the unresolved stuff that's really blocking you from truly connecting with your child.
Reem, thanks so much for coming in and laying that out for us.
We appreciate it.
And you can order the Foundation's Healing Journal wherever books are sold.